So good evening and welcome to episode 10 of The Rude Awakening. And tonight I want to talk about total non-duality, the absolute. Now, what we often try to do is as we search for the nature of true reality, as we start searching for what are we, as we try and answer the questions, what are we? Why are we here? What created us? What happens when these bodies die? Is there a place after this? Those are all questions that the human psyche asks in order to give itself a sense of hope, a sense of future. It's always to do with future. Ultimately, every spiritual quest, whether it be formalized into religion and what has become mainstream religion, or what has become the myriad of spiritual practices and spiritual schools out there, all of it really is not just our search for meaning and purpose, but our search for a way to find perpetual joy while we're still in form, while we still appear to be alive in body minds. The problem, however, is since day dot, since our formative years, we've been programmed and conditioned, either completely innocently by our parents hoping to give us the tools to be able to survive the world out there, or by mainstream societies and religions and cults and organizations trying to turn us into obedient subjects. And so when we start searching with preconceived ideas. And so there's the idea of a heaven, a hell, this earth, an afterlife, the soul. Some people say spirit, spirit with a soul, or soul itself instead of spirit. And then we speak of things like consciousness and awareness. Ultimately, all of it resides in the realm of concept and ideas, and all of it is all pretty meaningless unless you have a direct experience. One can stand here and say, this is the truth, and I read it in such and such a book because it comes from wherever it comes from. But ultimately, it's still in the realm of ideas. And until you've had a direct experience of an all pervading presence or love itself, unconditional, without judgment, without expectations, it just remains in the realm of concept and belief. Now, you either believe in duality or you believe in non-duality, and yet again, it's still belief. And at what stage do you move into the knowing? I know this to be true. How many times have you heard people say, I know this to be true because they believe it? And is it true because they believe it, or is it true irrespective of whether they believe it or not? Let's take God as a concept. Our earlier beliefs in a God were always based on imagination, a character, a creature, a spirit, a being, a person up there somewhere watching over us. And the same applies to the idea, the concept of deities or saviors or enlightened beings. Now, if you come from the Judeo-Christian school of thought, then you have the Bible, the Quran, and the myriad of other subtexts that support it. So, if you come from the Christian school, which is where most Course in Miracles students come from, most, not all, then they've already have a belief in a Jesus. And the danger is when you shoehorn the belief of a previous religion into something that is not understood or known by most. And that's the absolute. And at what stage do you put down the concepts and drop everything and go fully into the direct experience. Is that saying that says, I don't know who said it, but duality appears to be the opposite of oneness. But what is one has no opposite? There's also that question that asks, what is the opposite of love? And yet love has no opposite. And what is the opposite of love? It can have no opposite. But while we're trapped in duality, the opposite of love is everything. Everything that appears and disappears, not just fear, sin, guilt, darkness, is appears to be the opposite of unconditional love. But if none of those things truly exist, then can it have an opposite? So the danger is to try, we try and shoehorn Christian or whatever religious background we have into non-dual A Course in Miracle concepts. And it cannot be done. The minute you do it, you get trapped in that. One of the things that disturbs me is seeing my fellow man and woman being led astray by charlatans, by people claiming to know better. At some stage, one has to call them out. One has to say, that's not true. And if it were true, prove it. And you'll see very quickly people can't. They like to make up stories. The Course in Miracles itself touches on questions of psychic phenomena. Is it valuable? Is it useful? And everything is useful if it brings people into a present state of peaceful joy. But at some stage, the truth needs to be known. Now, we know words are symbols twice removed, and there is no accurate description of the ultimate truth, of absolute reality. The closest we get to is to say the words, I am, full stop, God is, full stop. It's the all-pervading silent stillness. But what we see in the Course community, and I am calling them out tonight, is the Jesus freaks. Those that have taken Christianity and shoehorned it into A Course in Miracles. If you really do a proper and thorough study of A Course in Miracles and the life of Helen Schuchman, the scribe of the Course, you know that she heard an internal dialogue. She may or may not have, never given any proof, thought that originally it was the voice for Jesus. But nowhere in the Course does it say it's the voice for Jesus. People associate because of their Christian belief. But had they been raised a Buddhist, it would have been the voice for Buddha. Ultimately, if you truly understand anything, even conceptually about non-duality, there are no others. Even Ken Wapnick himself came to a stage once or twice only, and he said there is no Jesus. There is no you and I and a Jesus. There's only pure awareness. There's only the I am, the eternal extension of God. So you have to ask this question, and I see it on the Course community. Certain so-and-so are channeling messages from Jesus, and many of those messages are beautiful. But if you pay close attention and you know your Course in Miracles, and you know the non-dual teaching, the Mahavakyas especially, the Upanishads, or the teachings of Meister Eckhart, for example, so-called Christian mystic. Why call him a mystic? Because they didn't understand him. He was a mystery. You'll understand that the man who was Jesus 2,000 years ago, so little is really known about him other than the narrative traditions passed down in books and in fairy tales, really. I can guarantee you that anyone who understands the non-dual and lives a life of joyous peace and truly looks out and serves their brother lived 2,000 years ago, they would have been considered no different to a Jesus. Now, what Jesus did is he planted a seed, a thought, in the dreaming mind. And who's planting the thought? Jesus is the character of the dreaming mind. So it's the dreaming mind contemplating with itself, conversing with itself through its characters in its dream, trying to figure out what I am. What am I? I've fallen asleep. Something inside me tells me there's more to this. And as I make manifest this universe, projecting thoughts into form, in my dream, they appear real. And yet there's more to this. So if Jesus, the man, awoke to self, awoke to his right-minded Christ self, once his body was put to rest, where is that energy, that essence energy, that spirit called Jesus? Is he now in the spirit world from where he channels to the so-called special psychic, God-fearing, God-loving beings? Or has that which was Jesus dissolved and collectively joined with the collective essence energy, which is the dreaming mind, which is the dreaming mind of that which dreams? We call that which dreams the Son of God. At what stage do we let go of the need for someone outside us? Why can we not just speak our mind as authentically and honestly as possible and say, this is my understanding, this is what's coming through me? Why do I have to say, I heard the voice and the voice said, be kind, be gentle? Is it to give us credence? Is it to give us substance? Because we don't believe we ourselves are good enough to just put it out there? Why is it that we have to quote Ramana Maharishi or Papaji or Nisargadatta or Lao Tzu in order to sound like we know what we're talking about? Take the Christian principle of duality. Somewhere out there, it must be in the ether, except Christians don't use those words. There's a heaven. And somewhere out there, there's a hell. Is it outside the universe? No one knows. It's in another dimension. And in this heaven, there's a God, and there's his son, Jesus. And all the good souls that believed in Jesus have now gone up there. God makes all these creatures in the universe, plonks a spirit into them, a soul, and then puts them out there to worship him. And if they're really good and they believe in Jesus, no proof, no evidence, just a book written by old men that knew shit about nothing, that thought the world was flat, that subjugated races and women for that matter. We want to believe that because, of course, we have the cop-out clause that it was inspired by the Holy Spirit. Of course it was. We believe in that nonsense. And then Jesus is now sitting at the right hand of the Father. So the Father's got a front and a back and a left and a right. The Father is a creature. Where's the mother? There's no mother. In nature, there's a father and a mother. But in heaven, God forbid, there's just a father and a son. Maybe the mother's the Holy Spirit. We never think about these things because we mustn't question them. And what is the Holy Spirit? Ask a Christian to define the Holy Spirit. It's a spirit. And you say the voice for God, the memory for God, a memory for God, or a memory of God? Or is it a memory of self as the extension of God? The Course teaches us throughout the Course, we are the kingdom. The sonship is the kingdom. What does that mean? Is it a place in space, in time? No, but time doesn't exist. The Course tells us that. The Course is constantly alluding as it takes us through layers from duality to non-duality. That space-time is a construct, an illusionary construct, a holographic universe. But it's not only Christianity and other religions that have a duality problem. In spirituality, you have a duality too. All that's happened is you've now dropped hell, and there's a reincarnation of naughty souls, bad souls that come back and reap what they sowed. But up there, there's special beings too in heaven, wherever heaven seems to be, because there's angels. And so people who teach A Course in Miracles that say they channel Jesus, then perhaps Jesus is up there with the angels in the spirit world from where he's channeling with other ascended masters. Because if you look at the world of channeling and it keeps growing, there's just gooks and geeks and weird people everywhere. And certain ones have got great status. And if you listen closely to what they have to say, they all say the exact same bullshit. All of them. No one's ever predicted what's about to happen, not accurately. Absolute nonsense. And some have gestures and moves and they're just fucking weird. Look at it. They're just fucking weird. Call it out. Is that offensive? Am I offending you? Is it offending your sense of spirituality? Spiritual people shouldn't speak like that. Spiritual people shouldn't judge others. No? Told you guys I'm not spiritual. Fucking rogue cowboy. Don't give a shit for spirituality. Whole fucking thing's a joke. The whole thing's a joke. They're better now, wearing a cowboy hat, smoking a cigarette. The whole thing's a joke. All of it, one big money-making scam. And the Course in Miracles community's fallen straight into it. It's all about making money, building monasteries. People have to give up their houses, move into the monastery, give all the money to the society, and then they slave away. So the guru can travel the world and preach and have a holiday and have his mighty minion disciples running around him preaching he's the chosen one. Then you get other people that claim to see beings that lived at the time of Jesus. You know they fucking cook. Take a good look at the dude. He is fucking mad. Hey, I'm not saying either. I just don't take shit. So where's these beings now that appear and disappear and speak to people and talk about the disappearance of the fucking universe? Where are they? Are they in the spirit world? While we're down there, or they're in the secret dream and the rest of us are down here, and then our souls will go back up there and then reincarnate again. And where's God in all of this? And then you've got the mystical Eastern philosophies that God is dreaming. God has forgotten himself. He's dreamt up all this shit, fractured himself into billions of thoughts that have taken form. And he's done this because he was bored, so he wanted an experiment. Could he remember himself if he chose to forget himself? The Eastern philosophies have no more truism in them than the Western philosophy. And just because ancient creatures lived around and ran around loincloths and made circles and danced around the fire, and the Aborigines and the Indians of America, doesn't make them spiritual. That was just their way. The Bible is filled with stories that, if you look at the origins, are Mesopotamian. And if you look at those ancient Mesopotamian texts, Sumerian tablets, stuff deciphered by Zechariah Sitchin, for example, there were beings on this planet before the human race came about. There were gods of old, and they were just travelers that to the local human monkey seemed immortal. So God is dreaming, and he's having this process of remembering himself by experiencing what he's not. That gets close. But if God was dreaming, what would remind him of what he is? We're only just looking for hope. We're looking for joy. We're looking for peace. But we cannot find it because we're so glued to the social media of the external world. What's going on there and who's attacking who and who's at war with whom and who's right and who's wrong and which religion. And based on how we're raised, we always take a side. Mankind is intolerably cruel to itself. The battle between the sexes, the battle between the races. It's just a never-ending disaster of biblical distortions. But no one knows the truth. And as soon as the truth is made known by one person and is shared, if it has an impact, it's just a matter of time. And some motherfucking wimp, because they're always wimps, will turn it into a fucking religion and make money out of it and convince others that they know better. They're the holy one. Course communities filled with these rosy cheek fucking smiley faces. Absolute bullshit artists. They know shit, using other people's money to figure out absolute reality. That's what they do. Now, some people are going to say, but Lou, you're judging. Because I love my brothers, I will call out the bullshit artists so people are not led astray. If that offends you, switch this fucking channel off, go somewhere else. I'm not doing this for money. I'm not trying to grow a cult, a group, become famous, sell more books. I just couldn't give a shit. Don't need a penny. Live an abundant life. Doing what I love, by the way. If I was to ask you this question right now, are you aware? The answer is so simple. Yes, I'm aware. I am. I am aware. It's not a spiritual question. It's not a trick question. Are you aware? Watching me on the screen smoke a cigarette, talk shit, shooting the breeze. Are you aware? Yeah. Well, if you're aware, you're awake. The end. If you're aware, you're awake. But you've been taught to believe that you're not. And because there's a void inside you that you avoid at all costs, you don't recognize that you're awake. Because to be awake is to be aware, and to be aware is to be awake. You've bought into the belief that you're this individual body. You haven't yet realized you're an organism in a universe which is one collective whole, one indivisible collective whole made up of billions of little fractures of creatures and things and places and events. All of it is one unified universe. Unity in the universe. It's why it's called universe and not multiverse, unless you watch Spider-Man and bullshit fucking movies. There's only one universe. We haven't even found the edge of this universe, and there's people talking about multiverses. One universe, one organism, one dreaming mind. How do I know this? How can I say it with total and complete conviction? Because I am aware. And through the direct experience of the awareness I am aware of my dream. Mine as in Lou? No. Lou's a character in the dream. And I, the dreamer, speaks through Lou. Who is he channeling now? No. Except unless he's channeling all 8 billion of us on this planet and all 9 septillion throughout the universe. Then he's channeling. And channeling is nothing but projection. Projecting images onto a holographic screen called the universe. The contents of my I am dreaming mind. Are you aware? Yes. Now, are you aware of the uneasiness inside you? The part of you that's looking for love, looking for a lover, looking for a relationship, looking for happiness, looking for fulfillment, looking for a purpose, looking for meaning. Are you aware of that? Of what is looking for awareness? And the answer is simply I am. I'm looking for meaning. I'm looking for purpose. I'm looking for happiness. I'm looking for a relationship. I'm looking for this. I'm looking for that. I'm looking for fulfillment. I'm looking for meaning. I'm looking for purpose. Now, how long do you have to live on this earth before you realize there's absolutely no meaning and no purpose in this biblical disaster? How can there be when you've made it in vengeance? You want to believe you've made it in any other way? You haven't. Vengeance is all you know. It's why you get triggered to anger. Anger turns to emotion and boo hoo hoo, or it turns into rage and you act, the masculine and the feminine. If you read the course properly, it gives you the answers. Let me read you something from chapter 8, The Treasures of God. We are the joint will of the sonship. Stop there. We, body, mind, characters running around, are the joint will of the sonship. What's the sonship? The dreaming mind, whose wholeness is for all. We begin our journey back. Back where? To the awakening, to the realization of what we are, to our true essential nature, by setting out together and gather in our brothers as we continue to grow. How do we gather them in? We gather them in and bringing all of us to the awareness, I am. Every gain in our strength is offered for all. So as each one of us awakens, as Jesus awoke to self 2,000 years ago, it's immediately added to the collective. So the content of the awareness that Jesus gained as a body mind, the recognition that he's the extension of the love of God, is immediately accessible by the rest of the dreaming mind, therefore the fractures in form. Every gain in our strength is offered to all. So they too can lay aside their weaknesses, their fallibilities, their sin, fear, guilt, and add their strength to us collectively. God's welcome waits us all, and he will welcome us as I am welcoming you. Now, who's the I speaking? Immediately, the Jesus freak will say it's Jesus talking to us through the course, channeling through Helen. The I is the I am. It's our dreaming mind, the part that's awake, talking to the fractures of the dream, calling us to awaken. Forget not the kingdom of God for anything the world has to offer. And how many people say they do the course, but have never really bothered reading it? And then argue, and then follow blindly some teacher who says Jesus spoke to them, or saw so and so in their bedroom who channeled blah, blah, blah bullshit. Further down in that chapter, the I, my awake mind talking to all of us, I share with God the knowledge of the value he puts upon you, the value he puts upon the essence of the dreaming mind, which is the essence of the sun. My devotion, the awake part talking to the dreaming part, saying, my devotion to you is of him, being born of my knowledge of myself and him. If it was Jesus talking, where's he talking from? So is the spirit world real? Is he in the spirit world? Or is Jesus a thought in the mind of God? If that is, then we're back in duality. Because then God has many thoughts of many different sons, and they all collectively fell asleep, and one of them woke up. So does God have many sons, or does God only have one son? For God's sake, pick one. And so if God has many sons and they all fell asleep and they now all created the universe, did they agree to how the universe was? And then one of them woke up and he's now special. He's now with God, talking in God's mind to the fallen sons of God's minds. You see how absurd that is? Or is the essence of what was Jesus, awake to self, is the awake part in ourself, talking to ourself as the I am. I share with God the knowledge of the value he puts upon you. My devotion to you is of him, being born of my knowledge of myself and him, one indivisible self. We cannot be separated. Whom God has joined cannot be separated. And God has joined all his sons with himself. Sons, the extension energy of which one fractured self fractured further in a dream. And yet it fractured what? The Son of God. So each fracture is the Son of God too. Fractures of one indivisible Holy Son. Can you be separated from life and from your being? Your being is life. The journey to God is merely the reawakening of knowledge, remembrance, knowing, not knowledge of this universe, the knowing of being, pure awareness, where you are always and what you are forever. It is a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed, pure extension of the love energy essence we are. Truth can only be experienced. It cannot be described and it cannot be explained, no matter who the fuck channeled what fucking being from wherever the fuck. Get it? Bullshit. Bullshit. I can make you aware of the conditions of truth, but the experiences of God. Together we can meet its condition, but truth will dawn upon you of itself. What God has willed for you is yours. All of it, collectively. The eternal joyous peace of being, infinite lightness of being. There's no heaviness. It's pure light. He has given you his will to be his treasure, whose treasure it is. Your heart lies where your treasure is, as his does. God is spirit and abides in me. I am spirit, I abide in God. One indivisible essence energy called spirit. We call it spirit, just energy. You are beloved of God, are wholly blessed. Learn this of me, and free the holy will of all those who are as blessed as you are. It is my duty, my beloved siblings, it is my duty to call out the bullshit artists. I'm designed this way. I'm designed this way to question, to search, to research, to read, to tear apart, to bring it apart, to pull it apart, to look and look deeper and find the truth and find the meaning and expose the lies. Am I judging my brothers? They lost. They lost in translation, lost in greed, lost in specialness, wanting to be special spiritual teachers. Are you aware? Are you aware of your breath right now? Are you aware of my voice? Are you aware of the screen? Are you aware that you seem to be seeing? Look at the screen right now. Look at my face. Look at the image. Close your eyes. See it again. There it is. You can see it with your eyes closed. You're not seeing. There is no seeing. There's no me. You cannot see me. You're imagining. You're dreaming it up. We all are. We all are characters in our I am dreaming mind. The truth is, God is. Full stop. What is God? There is no word to describe it. Are you aware? What are you aware of? Look around you. Look around you at the objects, subject objects. Now take it inwards. Are you aware of self, your presence? Abide there in presence of your presence. Now go deeper. Shut out all the noise. Be present in the presence of yourself. Know that. Know that self. It's always present when you shut out the world, when you shut out the noise. The presence is there. The presence of self, that which is aware, is always there. Abide therein. Rest therein. Rest as awareness. Is there any desire in awareness? Do you need to know anything? Is there any fear? Are you avoiding anything? Awareness is all pervading. It's all there is. When your eyes shut for the last time in this life, and this body gets put to rest, that awareness is still there. How do you know? How can you not know? It's been there whether you were paying attention or not. The character paid attention or not. The awareness in which the character appeared and disappeared. The awareness has always been there. What do we call that awareness? The life force. Love. We can call it by many different names. That's the fundamental essence of all of it. That's the essential nature of all of it. And if that's the essential nature of all of it, of ourself, what could that essential nature have been created from? But from that which is like itself. Awareness is God. God is awareness. Awareness is love. Love is awareness. Put down the idol worships, the concepts, the history figures, the ideas of someone out there to save you, wings or no wing. The awareness is all there is. And when awareness is all there is, what else is there? What point of view matters? Awareness is that where all points of view collate and then collapse and disappear. You're already awake. Nothing to do. Nowhere to go. Nothing to achieve. How should you behave? However the fuck you like. You want to be angry, be angry. You want to be happy, be happy. You want to cry, cry. You want to be sad, sad. Awareness doesn't change. But the more you rest as awareness, the happiness, the crying, the anger dissolves. And then you'll put on a facade and you'll call them out. You'll act like the rogue cowboy. You'll light up a cigarette, shock the shit out of everybody. The awareness is the awareness. You are that. Now, what happens to inside? You're still looking for someone to fulfill you. When so-called spiritual people talking to you, say, but I'm still human. Bullshit. You're not human. Yeah, but I still have human urges. That's an excuse you've given yourself. You like that excuse. It's your cop-out. So you don't have to go deeper. But I'm still looking for meaning. I'm still looking for someone to love me. How many times did you hear, if you really want to be loved, then be loving. If you really want peace, offer peace. If you really want to be happy, make people smile. See, while you're in serving others, there's no time to think about your own illusionary shit that you bought into as real. That anxiety inside you, like something's missing, can't wait to go somewhere, got to buy something, got to go somewhere, got to meet someone, got to date someone, got to fuck something. That's the fear. Sit with it. Sit with it. Go into it. Are you aware? Yeah. Are you aware of whatever anxiety came to the surface? Are you aware of whatever need is now calling you to act and anxiety? I need something. Sit with it. Cry until there's no more tears. Scream until there's no more voice. Punch until your hands are hurt. And then sit with it. And am I aware? I am. And every time any other question comes up, no thanks. Am I aware? I am. And the more you abide in that I amness, the essential nature of your beingness, the very essence, life force you are, the I am becomes all pervading. And your journey to God is complete. The son is awoken. The prodigal son is aware of the awareness he is. And what is awareness? The love of God. Am I aware? I am. God is. Full stop. What more? What more do you want? The anxiety, oh, I need a man to make me happy. I need a woman to fulfill me. I need a car, a job. Sit with it. And from the I amness, allow the I am to extend. And while you're busy assisting, serving, lightening, making lighter, making more fun, sharing your joyous nature, being light, not heavy, complain, complain about something. Fucking complain about something. You'll find something to fucking complain about. Everybody triggers you. You say things like, my brother is sinless. I want to see the sinlessness in my brother so I know myself. But man, you can't wait to judge any politician, every politician, everybody's fault. Want to complain about everything, but you do fuck all. You don't get off your fucking ass and do anything about it. You love to complain. You don't want to do something about it because you want to complain. If you don't like something, switch it off. Don't listen. But don't complain. And why do you want to complain to others? Why do you want to share your burdens with everybody else? Can't you just keep it to yourself? So let me ask you again. Are you aware? And if you say anything other than I am, you don't want to be the awareness you are. This was a spiritual kick up the Uranus, spiritual. Kundalini is just lit up. All the chakras have just been lit by the light of awareness. Third eye is about to open, and fairy dust and unicorn fairy dust is about to burst open, and billions of stars, and you're now going to ascend into self-righteousness. Be yourself knowingly. Stop searching outside yourself for what is already known by you, through you, as you. Awareness. Known by awareness, known through awareness, known in awareness. Awareness is all there is. You have the formula. Stop talking about the past. Forgive it until it no longer impacts you. Forgive it until you've forgotten it. Rest as awareness. Give gratitude for your newfound realization of self as indivisible, as the extension of the love of God. Rest. Give gratitude. And then go out and pour your awareness, the joyous essence of being, your lightness of being, your joyous nature into the rest of your appearance, dream, and bring it, make it lighter. Don't preach to it. Don't go and teach it a course in miracles. For God's sake, don't do that. You don't need another loony bin trying to convert people with books. Just go be joyous, go offer yourself lightly and gently and as happy as you can. But check in on yourself that if you're not smiling and you're not going in there to lift, then why do it? And when you see lack of the remembrance of love, what we call evil or ugliness or greed, act, don't complain, do something. The world has got enough podium preachers and complainers. Too little people get off their asses and do something. Be that knowingly.